name is Charles Lozar. I'm a retired architect, and my passion has been ship models because they're very much like upside-down houses with really good roofs. I created the National Museum of Sea History and Ship Models. When we first moved into the building after it had been restored, I had a collection of approximately 14 movie models from studios like Universal. We had about 20 small models that were scattered throughout the building. Over the years, we have gathered many, many more models too, to try and represent the sections of the world and the time periods of history. And you could easily spend 2 to 3 hours walking through the cramped small spaces between the model ships. The emphasis in the museum is on the history of the exploration of the world. You pretty much can trace the history of civilization through ships and shipbuilding, from prehistoric times with the early ships to the Vikings, to the exploration of the Mediterranean, and then eventually the Silk Road to the Far East for spices. One of the most unusual models in the museum is a 27-foot-long model of the Queen Mary, which still exists in Los Angeles. About 2005, I got a call from a person in Chicago named Wayne Cousy. And Wayne, very calmly over the phone, asked if I had room for a Queen Mary. And there was a long pause, and Wayne says, well, it's 27 feet long, and it's made out of 1 million toothpicks. He brought down the model in a truck, and we unloaded it, and you can still see it sitting in the middle of the first floor. I think that the fascination with the sea actually has to do with biology. I think it's because we crawled out of the sea and evolved into land creatures. There's a certain relaxation, certain quietness in looking out across the sea that makes you feel at home with nature. Also, there's a sense of adventure because it's a question of what is over the next edge of where you can't see. It's the same reason that we have spaceships going to the moon and maybe Mars. Those will be the next ships of the future generation, and hopefully there will be a museum of spaceships later on. When I first started the museum, I was very, very interested in the construction of the models, and you begin to appreciate the amount of effort that goes into making an accurate model that represents a piece of history. My collection grew to the point where we had many models from older people who had them as a hobby and had passed away. As more donations came in and people told me their life history or their grandfather's life history, you begin to realize that actually you're the caretaker of other people's treasures. You kind of hope that the museum will live on for a while after me, and their treasures will give joy to the new visitors who come to see the history of the world.